I can't take this any longer. I need something, anything, to find a way back into reality. I've been trapped within the darkness of my hole for too long now, and I finally need to come to terms with my past. In fact, I know a few others who do too. That's it. This is what I have to do. I know how to not only come to terms with my own past, but also help these folks out too. They might not know me or each other, but as I am invisible and the cruelness of the world can no longer hurt me, I know it is still hurting these 4 women. And as part of the brotherhood, it's not only my brothers I must fight for, but it is my duty to help these women as well. Regardless of their past, we shall come together at this dinner and end our grievances once and for all.
A letter? Dr. Nolan, is this letter for me?
Yes, Esther, you should see who it's from.
Why, how strange. Now, why would this stranger write a letter to me inviting me to dinner? It must be Buddy. I can't even get a moment of peace without getting another letter from that man. But why shouldn't I go to this dinner? There's not much more for me here in this hopeless hospital with nothing more than this inescapable suffering of my own thoughts. Well, that is, unless I'm getting more shock therapy. Well, I guess I've made up my mind then. Dr. Nolan, I'm going out this afternoon. I will return in the morning.
Gracious, a letter from me? Oh, how sweet. My, I wonder who this mystery man is who sent this to me. Why, I must tell Stella. She'll be so excited I'm meeting some mystery man for dinner. Stella!
Yes, Blanche?
Oh, Stella, I've received such a kind letter from this gentleman who wants to have dinner with me this afternoon. Now, this will be the perfect chance for me to start over after Mitch.
Just be careful, Blanche. I don't need you getting into any more trouble out there.
My Stella, aren't I grown enough to choose men I hang around with? I promise, my dear little sister, I will be safe. I will be home before supper. Just have my bath waiting for me when I get back.
Telegram message for Sophie, Caco.
Now, who could be sending me these messages so early in the morning? Joseph is still away in Providence, and I just spoke with my mother yesterday. But what if she's having another nightmare? What if she's really hurt herself this time?
You are invited to dinner this afternoon. We will be expecting your arrival. Signed, The Invisible Man.
Oh, it's an invitation to dinner. But who would be sending me such a message? I don't understand. If this is Mark trying to meet with Joseph and me again, I don't want to speak with that man. But what if it's for my mother? I have to go for her. This afternoon, though? So soon. If I had known, then I wouldn't have purged last night and I could have an appetite for dinner. It's fine, I just won't eat there, as long as he doesn't say anything to me.
Oh, Henry. Darling, I just received the kindest invitation to dinner this afternoon.
A letter? Who from?
Why, I don't know. It is signed The Invisible Man, and I have never heard of this Invisible Man before. Oh, darling, will you please go with me? I just can't stand being away from you, even for the afternoon. I just love you so much. Oh, darling, will you please go with me?
Oh, Kat, you know I love you, darling. But is my name even addressed on the letter?
Well, I suppose not. This letter is addressed to only me. You're right, darling. I mustn't get ahead of myself. That settles it then. I will meet this Invisible Man for dinner. I will be back soon, my love.
Who are you? I don't remember having that before.
Why, hello, if it isn't the mystery man himself, and looking very handsome in that white hat and glasses. You actually look like someone I've seen before. What's his name?
Reinhardt?
Yes, Reinhardt. I remember seeing you.
You're not my mother, Mark. In fact, I've never seen you before in my life. Is this another trap? Is this all you men want? Who are these other women here?
Don't worry, my dear. I'm not here to cause you any trouble. Please have a seat and you'll see why I gathered you all here.
How do you do? You're not an Italian, are you? I have never seen you before, Invisible Man. Are you friends with my husband, Lieutenant Frederick Henry, or you may know him as Tenente or Federico?
I do not know your husband, but I have heard of you. In fact, I've heard of all of you, and I know all your stories and all the hardships you've endured throughout your lifetime.
But how would you know that? You never even met me before. In fact, by the look of it, I don't think you met any of us before.
As a former member of the Brotherhood, it was my duty to ensure that all voices were heard, whether one was black, white, homeless, a woman, or anything else. Therefore, although I no longer associate myself with the Brotherhood, I still believe it is time to come out from hiding and no longer be invisible, at least to you four women. That is why I brought you all here today, because I know that what you have all been through, and I want you to all to have this opportunity to heal from your past.
Well, I don't know what you can be possibly going on about, but I do remember this one morning when old maid had just uncovered the parrot for the day, when who should she see coming up from the front walk but the preacher? Well, she rushed back to the parrot and slipped the cover back on the cage, and then she let in...
Darling, I don't mean to interrupt you, but what are you even talking about?
A parent, a maid, a preacher? I figure I was invited here due to the trauma I faced throughout my pregnancy, having my childhood lover taken from me in the war, and then hearing the love of my life almost die in a war again, and needing to nurse him back to health. I have seen horrifying things as a nurse for the Italian army, and I fear I myself will die soon upon the delivery of my child. I would do anything to see my beautiful baby girl born into this world, but I fear that as I go into labor, my baby nor I will survive. And I just love my husband so much, and I do not wish to imagine a world where I am no longer.
I'm so sorry. It's just, you wouldn't believe me. My sister didn't even believe when I told her what awful animal of a husband you did to me.
It's all right, Blanche. We believe you. That's why I brought you here. Everyone understands what you've been through.
Yes, Blanche, I know how you feel. My whole life, I've had to deal with the constant aggravation that no one would understand how I really feel. All throughout college and my young adulthood, I've been fighting depression and trying to commit suicide several times. I even tried drowning myself and strangling myself, but I failed each attempt. Even then, no one really understood what I was going through, not even my own mother. The therapy she tried to put me through was only a way to get me put into the psych ward and put me through relentless insulin shock therapy. I will never be able to have a normal life. Not like this, trapped within the walls of my mind, unable to live without someone else understanding. I will never find a cure for my depression, no matter how much shock therapy I am given by Dr. Gordon, Dr. Nolan, or anyone else.
Oh, Esther, you were sent to the psych ward too? Well, after I told my sister Stella the awful thing her husband did to me, well, they sent me to the mental hospital too. When I told my sister the truth of how Stanley sexually assaulted me, well, they all thought I had lost my head. I never pick up such an awful story, even as much as Stanley irritated me in the past. I had no idea there was someone else out there who feels the same and misunderstood as myself.
Now, not to intrude on your story either, Blanche, but I was also sexually assaulted by someone I had a very close relationship with, someone I love very much.
What do you mean, Sophie, darling? How could someone you still love do such a horrible thing to you?
Well, you see, at just 18 years old, I fell in love with this wonderful man named Joseph. And in my Haitian family, we hold true to the belief that a woman is to save herself until the day she gets married. One day after returning late from a night out with Joseph, my mother became suspicious of what I was doing with him. So she did the unthinkable to me. That day, she started performing these tests on me. She would just throw me on the bed and rip off my undergarments, and when she was through, I just had to lie there with my dignity stripped of me.
Sophie, what are you saying?
My mother sexually assaulted me in my early adulthood until I finally had the courage to leave. But I still love my mother dearly, and though I can't forgive her for what she's done to me, she'll always be my mother, and I'll always love her and do anything for her.
How can so many other women know what I've gone through? And why must all of you have to experience something this terrible as well?
I know it is awful what all of you four women had to endure. But now that you all know one another's stories and know none of you are alone, do you all feel more human? Like you genuinely are cared for and belong in this world?
Yes, I do.
This is an incredible thing you've done for us, Mr. Invisible Man.
Yes, without you bringing us all together, I would never have realized that maybe I'm not alone in this world, and that there are others who understand me.
Yes, and I would have never found others who had also been forced to endure such similar traumas in their early adulthood.
Thank you so much, mister. I don't know what any of us would have done if you hadn't brought us all here. I think I could speak for everyone when I say this, but we are all forever grateful.
There's no need to thank you, ladies. You all deserve to find peace amongst yourselves, and so did I. I have now found my purpose once more and feel as if I am ready to step out from the shadows that I have concealed myself in for so long. I no longer need to hide under this facade of an invisible man, just as you, woman, no longer need to hide your truth from the world. Let us all be free from the darkness that has surrounded us for so long and live in a world of happiness, hope, and peace.
Can you actually include a boob for real? That'd be so funny. That's recording. Okay, anyways.
I've heard of all of you and all the stories. Sorry! Are you gonna count?
We don't want to see a lumpy baby on this table. Put your belly on the table.
So sorry.
Let's cut it out.
Yeah, we're just gonna. Yeah, let's all harmonize with it.
Train taking Blanche to the mental hospital. A letter? Who from? What?
And you have to like raise your arms up like this, and then everyone has to.
That's a cult. I'm gonna kill myself. Wait, sorry, that's your.
That's my character.
Okay.
That's it. That's pretty good.
Yay!